Alright, so the next set of questions are from Once Upon a Pig. And the first question is, how old are you? I am actually 25 years young. We'll be celebrating my second 25th birthday in a few months. So yeah, that's my age. How many guinea pigs have you owned in the past? I've actually have not owned any guinea pigs in the past. My first guinea pig was Barbok, the white one that's in the upper cage that has white and brown. And then I got all of these guys, so yeah, I haven't had that many guinea pigs at all. The next question from Once Upon a Pig is, what is your dream pet? Ooh, there could be a few answers to that question. What? I did not say anything. I have not said anything. You're making stuff up. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. No, there's nothing coming. It's not dinner time yet. So see, one of these guys starts, and this like kickstarts the other one up there. So yeah, and then they all start squeaking at the same time. I'm sorry guys, but there's nothing. It's not dinner time yet. Alright, so going back to the question. I do have a few pets that I would like to have in the future. The first one would be... I have a few. It's so hard. I definitely want a Holland Lop at some point because I've always loved bunnies since I was a little kid, but I just never got around to having any. Well, first because my parents said no when I was a little kid, but as an adult, I don't know. It's just kind of skipped my mind, and I would definitely love to have one. The next pet that I would like to have in the future would maybe be some robo hamsters. I just think they're so adorable because they're so tiny. I think they're one of the cutest little hamsters. And I guess the kind of like dream pet like that I don't know if I'll have, but it would be really cool to have, would be a freshwater teacup stingray. I know that sounds a little bit crazy. I do like weird pets, in case you haven't noticed. So they don't grow as big as the stingrays that are in the ocean. I think they grow about 1 foot long, but I would need a pretty big fish tank for that to make sure that they have plenty of space to swim around in, and I just really don't have a place in this apartment to put a tank that big, and also maintaining a fish tank that big would be a lot of time and commitment. So yeah, in case you haven't noticed, I like really odd pets. I think I saw one at a pet store once when I was a little kid and my mom said no. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed, but I totally understand why you wouldn't want your kids having a pet like that. And the next question, also from Once Upon a Pig, is are you thinking of getting any more pets? I think in the future I just may get one more, but I'm not sure yet which one it would be. Probably Holland Lop Bunny, but yeah, we'll see when that happens. And her last question is, favorite band singer? Well, I've absolutely loved Coldplay all my life. I just absolutely adore them. The next question, well, the next few questions are from Guinea Piggy Queen. And the first question is, what made you decide that you wanted guinea pigs and hedgehogs? I think I went over that question a little bit on the first part of the Q&A. And for a hedgehog, I just wanted a small pet that wouldn't be very time consuming because I was doing graduate school and had a very busy schedule. And I had always loved hedgehogs, so I decided to get one. And then guinea pigs because they're just so like fun, popcorny, and cute and vocal that I absolutely decided that I wanted one. Her next question is, does your hedgehog's needles hurt your hand? She's referring to the quills. Well, they're actually called spines because they're not hollow, and quills would be what porcupines have, which are hollow. So hedgehogs have spines, but people call them quills, so I'm just going to call them quills so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. No, they don't actually hurt your hands at all if the hedgehog is relaxed. Because if the hedgehog is relaxed, it lays down its quills, and it just feels like a brush. Oh, I think I have one here I can show you. Like, see the brush there on the dustpan? It just feels like that kind of brush, kind of like little bristles in your hand. Of course, when she's irritated and sticks up her quills, they are a bit pokey, obviously, so you don't want to, like, be squishing it like this because it'll definitely hurt your hand. But once you're used to it, it's really not that bad and doesn't hurt that much at all. The next question is, does your hedgehog's quills feel better or worse than pine needles? They feel better when she's relaxed, when she's not trying to puncture me with her quills, and they feel worse than pine needles when she's all like into a hissing ball of rage. So yeah. The next question is, how is Teasel doing? Well, she's doing great. Right now she's sleeping, so that's why I don't show her as much in my videos. I would definitely show her if I heard her rustling in her cage and heard her awake. But other than that, yeah, she's doing perfectly fine. Her next question is it bad to have two hedgehogs living together? Some people say yes, some people say no, but most people agree that it is not good to house two hedgehogs together because they can get into fights and it can end up really badly. Eyes can get injured and that kind of thing, and that kind of surgery is really expensive. With my previous hedgehog, Snowdrop, she was a lone hedgehog. She was in her cage by herself, and somehow she injured her eye. The vets and I never found out what it was because there was absolutely nothing in her cage that could have done it. My guess is that she caught her eye while trying to scratch her face with her back foot. So yeah, I saw her eye bleeding and completely panicked and had to take her to the vets and had to schedule a surgery within a few days because obviously I didn't want her feeling bad, even though it didn't seem to bother her at all, which was the strangest thing ever. And it was pretty expensive. I think it was about $500 so for one eye. So surgeries for small pets are extremely expensive because they're so hard to do. So yeah, that's why I do not recommend housing hedgehogs together, because it can just go badly extremely quickly if they don't get along. And hedgehogs are solitary animals and like to have their space, so it's very likely that they can start fighting. I personally try to avoid her getting any injuries, so that's why I house her alone, because vet care for them, emergency situations, is just extremely expensive. Guinea Piggy Queen's next question is, what pets have you had in the past, their names, and what happened to them? So I did have a few pets when I was growing up. My first one that I mentioned in my first part of the Q&A was a parakeet. She was all yellow. Her name was Chikira. And I think she just died of old age because there was no sign of illness or anything when she died. And she had been around for a while, so yeah, I think that was definitely the reason why she passed away. The next pets, during that time that I had her, I also had 2 chickens. They were called Rosa, which means pink in Spanish, and Verde, which means green in Spanish. And I just gave them those names because they were these little chickens that people dye with like vegetable oil or something for like Easter or something, and they were just kind of given to my mom by someone, and we decided to take them in. And they were really great pets. They never lived inside the house, but they followed me around outside, and you could just let them loose in the yard and they would eat little worms, and they were really fun. Unfortunately, I think they managed to escape the yard, or somebody stole them, because every afternoon we would bring them back into their cage, and we didn't find them that day, and I cried so hard because I was a little kid and I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, somebody's going to eat them in their stew, and I was so upset about it. So yeah, that was really hard. I really loved them and wished I would have had them for a bit longer. The next small, well, not small pet, obviously. The next pet that I had was a dog. It was a gift to me from my dad for my sweet 16 birthday, because I had absolutely wanted a dog all my life. And she was a Cocker Spaniel. She was, well, is, because she's still alive. She was blonde and white, and she was super duper cute. I got her since she was a puppy. And right now she's still doing well. Her name is Dixie, and she lives with my parents back home, because I had to move across the country to come to grad school, and obviously couldn't bring her with me. So yeah. Oh, and another dream pet that I have, I completely forgot to mention this one in the Once Upon a Pig's question, is a corgi. I absolutely love corgis. I just think they're so cute with their little stumpy legs. I definitely want one. When I have a house, of course, with a yard, because I live on a second floor in a condo, and I just really don't think that it would be fair to have a dog if I cannot give them access to the outside. And the last pet that I had before I got all of these guys, that is, was Snowdrop. She was my very first hedgehog and was an absolute sweetheart. She was with me for almost 2 years before she had to be put to sleep. She started having some issues with blood in the urine, and I was very concerned about this, obviously, so I took her to the vets straight away. The vets thought that it was a urinary tract infection, so they gave me some antibiotics for it, and I started giving them to her, and she seemed to be improving. Then all of a sudden, one afternoon, I got home and noticed that she really wasn't acting like herself. She was just kind of like in limbo, staring into space, and kind of about to topple over. And that was just really weird for her, because she was always doing something, either sniffing around with her nose like all Hedgies do or something. That was just really odd. So I took her out of the cage and held her for a little bit to see what was wrong. And then I put her on the floor, and she started walking around, and I had hardwood floors back then, and she urinated, and it was just a puddle of pure blood. And I was very concerned about that, obviously, so I phoned the vet immediately and took her in straight away that night. And then after a few hours, the vets did some tests to find out what was going on, and I think I don't know if it was an x-ray or something like that, revealed that she had a large tumor that was just making all her organs and everything just shut down. And at that point, there wasn't really much they could do for her, so they advised me that the best thing to do would be to put her to sleep, because she obviously wasn't feeling well, and even if they tried to do surgery on her, which would have been about $2,000, they told me that it was very likely that once they opened her, they wouldn't even be able to remove it or do anything, because it was so big. So, yeah, it was extremely painful, but I had to make the decision for her that night to put her to sleep. Yeah, it was a horrible night, and then I just cried for like 3 days straight until I couldn't cry anymore. And these are the little paw prints that the vets took from her before putting her to sleep, and then mailed it to me, so that was really nice of them. My vets were very supportive, and they absolutely loved Snowdrop. They said that she was the best and friendliest hedgehog they had ever seen. So yeah, that's the story of Snowdrop. These are her little paw prints, and I always remember her, even though she's not with me anymore. So I just have this set here in this corner of the window in the room, so that she'll always be here with me. And Guinea Piggy Queen's last question is, your current pets, their names, and how are they doing? This guy is Nimbus. He's 1 year old. He's doing great, and I got him at the same time as this guy, Aries. He's a silky. He's also doing fantastically well and is starting to come out of his shell a little bit more, which I really like. He tends to be a little bit of an instigator and pushes Nimbus around a little bit. And let's go up here. That guy back there, that beautiful piggy is Barbok. He was my first guinea pig. He's doing great as well. And Shinobi, which is his cage mate right here. The all brown one, he's doing great as well. And now moving into the Hedgie cage, somewhere in this pile of shavings is Teasel. She's not awake, but she's doing fantastically well. And I can tell that she was doing well because she ran on her wheel like crazy last night, and it is nasty and I have to clean it, so yeah. I'll show her in one of my next videos, but for right now I'll just let her sleep because I feel a little bit bad waking her up. And the last pet of the house is Bernie, who is sleeping in his little bed. He is a Maine Coon kitty. Well, a Maine Coon mix. Hi, Bernigans. Hi. You want some pets? You can hear him purring probably. Hi. Oh, you're so cute. He's doing good as well. Taking a little nap in his little bed that I got him a while ago. And this is his little kitty tower. Okay, so I have finally made it to the last few questions, and they're from Country Pets. And her first question is, what is your favorite animal out of all the animals in the world? That's a tough question. But I think it would probably be the mimic octopus because they're just amazing. They're so fascinating. If you haven't looked it up, look it up. They're just a really cool animal. And the last question from the Q&A is, if you could get another pet besides the ones you have, what would it be? If I actually could, if I lived in a bigger house with a backyard, I would get a corgi because I absolutely love them. If I had the option, I think I would also get a Holland Lop rabbit because it's something that I definitely want to have in the future. Alright, and that is it for all the questions from the Q&A. Thank you guys for submitting questions. Great questions, by the way. I really enjoyed doing this. So yeah, I guess that's what I have for now on this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any additional questions you want to ask, feel free to ask, and I'm pretty good about getting back to people. And yeah, that's about it. A bye from the piggies now. A bye from Nimbus. A bye from Aries. And a bye from Barbok and Shinobi. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.